Have you ever felt as if an invisible force is pulling you to the depths of your own soul, without any explanation? What if I told you that this may be directly linked to the dark energy of Scorpio, such an intense force that Edgar Cayce, the greatest prophet of the 20th century, made a clear warning about it? This video is not just about astrology. It is a call to everyone who feels that there is something bigger, hidden, operating behind the scenes of your life. Scorpion energy is not just transformation. It is rupture, revelation, ego collapse, and spiritual rebirth. It is the sign that carries the shadow of the Zodiac, and Cayce knew that. He warned, when poorly channeled, this force may affect not only Scorpions, but unbalanced all signs, causing crises, painful revelations, and events that seem coincidence, but are actually programmed spiritual shocks. This is an energy that breaks cycles, unmasks illusions, and active ancestral wounds. But why did Cayce reveal that? And what did he see about Scorpio that so many still ignore? If you feel that you carry an invisible weight, if your dreams are too intense to be just imagination, or if you have witnessed foreign events around people of this sign, so you need to stay until the end. The truth behind Scorpio energy can change its way of understanding the spirit world, and perhaps even its destiny. Comment here if you are Scorpion, or have already felt that strength crossing you. And now, get ready. What Edgar Cayce revealed starts now. If this energy has already touched you in any way, even though through a strange dream, an inexplicable chill, or a situation that seemed guided by something bigger, shares in the comments. This space is sacred, and their account can activate the conscience of other people who also feel, but they still do not understand what they are living. Here, each comment is a spiritual confirmation. When you write, you not only express yourself, you seal your connection with this deep frequency that Edgar Cayce tried to reveal to the world. Understanding this warning is more than astrological curiosity. It is about protection, expansion, and awakening. Cayce didn't speak to entertain, he warned to prepare. And if you feel you didn't get here by chance, it's because this video is part of your call. Scorpion represents the symbolic death of the ego, the rebirth of the spirit, and the hidden power that often manifests itself as chaos before healing. This is why this content cannot go unnoticed. So before you follow, leave the like so that this message reaches more people. Subscribe to the channel if you feel you are on a spiritual journey, because here, each video is a piece of this bigger puzzle we call awakening. Activate the bell, comment on your experience, and get ready. What Cayce saw was not a metaphor, it was fate. And the next step of this revelation begins now. Have you ever felt that you carry a force within you that you don't even understand? Something dark, but sacred. A silent presence that accompanies you in the most difficult times, as if an invisible energy tested you all the time. You may never have been able to put this into words, but the truth is that whoever carries the Scorpion vibration feels. Feel in the body, feel in the soul, feel in the silences. And this feeling is not just emotional, it is spiritual. Edgar Cayce, known as the Sleeping Prophet, was one of the few voices that dared to bring out the true meaning of this energy. He saw no Scorpion like just a sign, but as a portal, a spiritual seal that, when activated, transforms the fate of those who carry this cosmic signature and influence the entire zodiacal collective. Scorpio is a break in the zodiac. While other signs flow in cyclic movements, Scorpion interrupts, reinvents, dissolves. It represents symbolic death, the transmutation from the old to the new, the breaking of internal structures. When this energy manifests itself in a person, it begins to perceive deep patterns of loss, rebirth, secrets, and power. Nothing is light. Nothing is common. Everything has a hidden meaning, one more layer, a veiled intention, and often the person himself does not understand why he lives such intense, so painful, but also so transformative cycles. Cayce warned that the Scorpions, and even those who have this dominant energy on the astral chart, were chosen to work with the hidden side of existence. This is not romanticization. It is a spiritual call. It is a warning. He said that Scorpio keeps the key to many revelations that humanity is not yet ready to understand. But to access these revelations, it is necessary to cross their own chasms, face the front pain, and undress from all the masks that the ego insists on sustaining. Scorpio is the sign that touches the invisible. I realized before, That shuts up, but feels. That hurts, but also ass frog. Scorpion energy, according to Cayce, does not only act on the surface, it penetrates the records of the spirit, acts in the collective unconscious. It arouses memories that often come in dreams, visions, uncontrollable intuitions. It is not uncommon for people linked to this sign to live mystical experiences without rational explanation, such as feeling presence, feeling losses, capturing lies, and even accessing memories that do not belong to this life. And all this comes at a price. The Scorpio soul is old. It is marked. It is trained to be reborn. And for that very reason, it carries a magnetism that fascinates and scares at the same time. People approach Scorpions not only by affinity, but because they feel that there is something different there, a depth that moves the vibrational field of others. This intensity, if misunderstood, can generate self-sabotage, isolation, distrust, and even emotional explosions that move away from all that the soul wants to protect. Cayce drew attention to this, the need to understand Scorpion energy, not as weakness, but as a mission. A mission that requires balance between light and shadow, between instinct and wisdom, between control and delivery. He said that Scorpio, when awakened, has the power to heal the deepest trauma of others. But when injured, it can activate pains that contaminate an entire environment. That's because your energy is not just personal, it is collective. An unbalanced Scorpion affects the bonds around him, influences decisions of other signs, and causes reactions that often escape control. Therefore, understanding this content is a step of energy protection, not just for you if it's Scorpion, but for everyone who coexists with this energy. The whole Zodiac feels when this strength is out of alignment, and it feels even more when it is channeled with conscience, purpose, and truth. Scorpion did not come into the world to live on the surface, came to dive, to reveal, to transform. But before you do this to each other, you need to do with you. Cayce said, "It does not fear darkness, for it is in it that the Scorpio soul finds its light. And this light, when accessed, never goes out." Many of the most powerful reports we received here on the channel come from people who, after years of pain, came to understand that their processes were not punishment. They were spiritual activations. These are people who report premonitory dreams, meetings with entities, intuitions that saved their lives. And many of them share a common point. They have strong Scorpion on the map, whether in the sun, the moon, the ascendant, or in sensitive points of the sky. This is no coincidence, it is code, it is mission, and if you haven't completely understood why you live so hard, you may be time to dive deeper. This video is an invitation, a ritual, an activation, and that's why now I want to ask you something special. If at some point in this message you felt that she was talking directly to you, comments below, "I carry this energy." These words are not just a sentence, they are a seal, a spiritual confirmation. And if you have lived something inexplicable, if you already felt that a force majeure was guiding you through pain, share here too. Your account can awaken someone. It can comfort a lost soul. It can make someone else say, "This happens to me too." And if you want to further strengthen this message, leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and activate the bell. Every action of yours helps this content reaching other people who also carry this energy, but they still don't know. And the journey is just beginning. Cayce's warning goes far beyond what you imagine. Now, if at some point in this video, you felt something inside you wake up, if the words played a pain that you might not even know you carried, then I want to make you a very special invitation. I want to invite you to download your digital book, The 7 Hidden Spiritual Wounds of Your Zodiac Sign and How to Cure Them Before 2026. This book reveals what traditional astrology never had the courage to show, that each sign carries invisible wounds, emotional, energetic, spiritual marks that shape your fate, your relationships, your failures. Explain, but you feel. How if you were being called for a long time, inside. If this is your case, do not ignore this call. The link to download the book is in the first comment fixed. But attention, access is limited. This content will be removed from the air soon. If you are here now, it is because this may be the time to understand your pain and start your release. Click on the first fixed comment and start. If you are here so far, it is because something inside you recognize what is being said. Maybe you have never spoken it out loud. You may never feel security to open this pair you of yourself, but something in this content is vibrating in your field, and this vibration does not lie. What Edgar Cayce left us as warning was not a generic forecast. It was a deep warning about an invisible force that operates silently, but devastatingly when ignored. Scorpion is not a common sign. It is a cosmic signature marked by evidence, restarts that are born of destruction, by an almost uncomfortable intuition of such precise. Those who live under the influence of Scorpio not only feel the world intensely, they carry a sensitivity that goes beyond the five senses. They present what is about to happen. They perceive hidden energies in their eyes, silence, detail, and this is not imagination, it is soul code. Cayce warned that many Scorpions would be, in this era, used as channels of collective transmutation. This means that their personal pain, their internal conflicts, and even their loss and rebirth cycles are not only part of their individual development, but they are part of a larger healing plane. They clean the unconscious of the family, the collective, lineages they don't always know. This is why so many Scorpions feel alone, even surrounded by people. This is why they carry deep silences, memories that do not know how to explain, and a constant feeling that they are living something much larger than it appears. There is a weight, but this weight, if understood, becomes power. The spiritual community formed by souls that vibrate in this frequency is not large in number but is powerful in intensity. And if you are here, if this message has come to you, it is because your vibrational field is being touched by this Scorpion energy. You may be from another sign, but you have Scorpion in key points on the map. Perhaps it is undergoing astrological traffic that has activated this force within you. Or perhaps, simply be ready to dive into aspects of your soul that have been dormant too long. Cayce said that Scorpio's soul carries a kind of wisdom that cannot be taught, it can only be remembered. And this memory often comes through pain. But pain in this context is not punishment. It is activation. It is as if the universe used the falls to push you inside, because it's inside that the secrets are only you can access. And it is no coincidence that many Scorpions have early loss stories, profoundly marked betrayals of life in which everything seemed to fall apart. This does not happen to destroy. It happens to take the layers that block the true purpose. And this purpose, when I accept, completely transforms the way you see your trajectory. You no longer see yourself as a victim of the circumstances, and see yourself as an instrument of something bigger. There is a collective force being awakened now. Thousands of people around the world are at the same time accessing old information, spiritual gifts that were dormant, memories that are not of this life, and many of these awakes have in common the same Scorpion brand. They are the ones who can look at what no one wants to see. They are those who face their own shadow, and they return from there stronger. They are those who bother only to exist, because their presence makes others realize what they try to hide from themselves. Cayce said that Scorpio is the sign that causes revelations inside and out. Wherever it goes, it moves the invisible, and that by itself already says a lot about the kind of soul that inhabits this archetype. But this awakening cannot be lived in isolation. That's why now, more than ever, we need to build a conscious spiritual community, a space where awakened souls can recognize, strengthen themselves, share their signs, their processes, their intuitions, and you are part of it. You who feels the intensity of the lunar phases. You who wakes up with a tight heart for no apparent reason. You who realize when the environment changes energy, even if no one has said a word. You who have lucid dreams, who hear called silent, who feel chills when certain truths are said. You are here for a reason, and that reason has to do with mission. So now let's open a connection portal. It doesn't matter if you are Scorpion, or if you just feel that energy throbbing inside you. Comment here your sign. Write, "I'm part of it," or "I feel that energy calling me." These comments are not just engagement, they are vibrational statements. They are manifestations conscious of a spiritual movement that is taking shape. Leave your testimony. Tell how this message touched you. Say if you have lived something no one has been able to explain, but that you know deep down that it was spiritual. Let's show how many spiritual guardians are among us. Let's recognize ourselves, because the next revelation is near, and it will require us to be connected. What Cayce Prediu has not yet ended. And what comes next? You will need to be awake to understand. Don't waste more time living with this burden. Guarantee now your digital book, The 7 Hidden Spiritual Wounds of Your Zodiac Sign and How to Heal Them Before 2026, and find out how to apply these powerful teachings in your daily life. Attention! The stock is limited and is running out quickly. Click now and start your journey towards the trust you deserve. According to Edgar Cayce, the prophet who accessed information while sleeping and revealed spiritual truths almost supernaturally, Scorpio is not just a zodiac sign, it is a living warning. He said, in all the letters, that the Scorpions were born with such an intense spiritual burden that it can regenerate what is dead or destroy what is not ready to be reborn. And this is not a symbolic exaggeration. For Cayce, Scorpio was like a key between two worlds, the visible and the invisible, the known and the hidden, what saves and what it condemns. This is why he drew special attention to this energy. The prophetic warning about Scorpio was clear. The Scorpion soul is the portal between light and shadow. This statement, loaded with mysticism, reveals something deep. Cayce believed that Scorpion energy was able to interfere with individual and collective destinations. In other words, a Scorpion soul, depending on its state of consciousness, could activate a series of spiritual events, for good or chaos. That's why so many people are afraid of Scorpion without knowing how to explain. It is not fear of the person, it is fear of energy, because this energy mirrors hidden truths. She unmasks illusions. She reveals what is hiding even from who hides. And for that very reason, the Scorpion awakes not only transforms, he transforms everything around, even in silence. Cayce saw in Scorpio one of the most dangerous, yet most necessary archetypes of the New Age. Dangerous for those who live asleep, necessary for those seeking to awaken. He said that Scorpio is not born with easy choice. From an early age, it carries deep trauma, significant losses, internal clashes. But this is not punishment. It is initiation. It is the spiritual process that shapes the soul to the mission that will come later. Cayce saw these moments as phases of spiritual cut, moments when Scorpio is pushed into the background, so that he finds out that his true power is born of what seemed ruin. And only then, when nothing left, is it that something new emerges, the true purpose. The Scorpio soul is like a spiritual serpent. It changes skin, camouflage, silence, wait, and then reborn. Cayce said that Scorpio carries the signature of symbolic death, not in the literal sense, but as a process of transcendence. It is the sign that dies several times in the same life, that bury old versions of oneself, that loses to find, that sinks to emerge more strongly. But there is a risk here, a warning that Cayce made an emphasis. This same energy, when denied or poorly channeled, can turn against his own soul. It can turn into poison. It can become destructive, saboteur, corrosive, and that's why he called it prophetic warning. Because many, by ignoring their spiritual call, are eventually swallowed by the abyss itself. This warning does not come to scare, but to remember. Remember that Scorpio did not come into the world to have a warm life. It came to live with intensity, deeply, with truth. Cayce saw this sign as the surgeon of the human soul, the one who is able to touch the right wound at the right point and to cause the healing that no one else can cause. But for that, you need to face your own wounds first. You need to understand that your sensitivity is not weakness, it is radar, that your silence is not empty, it is wisdom, that your pain is not punishment, it is preparation. Scorpio can only guide others through dark territories because he has traveled this path alone before. Cayce said that every awakened Scorpion has the ability to be a hidden curator, a catalyst of free truths, even if he donates. And it is at this point that the prophetic warning gains an even deeper sense. Scorpio is the guardian of the collective unconscious. He presents when something is not going well. He feels tension before the explosion. It carries the ability to absorb what is heavy, transform within itself, and return to the world in a clean way. But for that, it needs courage. Courage not to escape his own darkness. Courage not to deny your gifts. Courage to accept that your journey will never be light, but it will be necessary. Cayce reinforced this repeatedly. Scorpio needs to learn to use its power or will be used by it. This excerpt from Cayce's warning shows us something that goes beyond common astrology. We are talking about destiny, spiritual mission, archetypes that carry invisible functions on the ground plane. And Scorpion, with all its intensity, is a fundamental piece in this cosmic board. It is the sign that tests, that challenges, that implodes internal structures, but all this with a single end, paving the way for the rebirth, to the truth, to deep healing. Who ignores this energy, repeats patterns. Who wakes up to her, breaks with the cycle. Cayce did not see this as an aesthetic choice, but as a spiritual urgency. If you felt this stretch spoke to you, comment here below now. Write, "I am the portal between light and shadow." This phrase is more than a comment, it is a spiritual statement. If you feel that you are going through a silent rebirth, you feel that something inside you is dying so that something stronger will come. Share. Write your sign. Share a phrase that represents this moment. This helps not only the channel, but especially this spiritual community that grows with each new video. Here, no one is alone. Each comment is a link, and we still have a lot to reveal. What Cayce left registered about Scorpio was just the beginning. Don't waste more time living with this burden. Guarantee now your digital book, The 7 Hidden Spiritual Wounds of Your Zodiac Sign, and how to heal them before 2026, and find out how to apply these powerful teachings in your daily life. Attention, the stock is limited and is running out quickly. Click now and start your journey towards the trust you deserve. Scorpion feels before the world realizes. He does not need. Evidence does not need logical explanations, does not need said words. He feels the non-not. He perceives the change in the air, the look he diverts, the silence loaded with intention. Your soul is tuned with the invisible. And as much as that sounds poetic, this sensitivity is not easy to carry. It hurts, it weighs, it isolates. Because when you feel too much, you see too much, you understand too much, you start to realize that not everyone is ready to deal with what you access. The Scorpion. Soul carries codes that do not belong to the common plane. It is as if they were in two worlds at the same time, the material and the spiritual, and therefore lives with one foot in depth and another trying to adapt to the surface. This hidden power that Scorpion carries is not decorative, it has function. It is for something larger. Scorpion sensitivity is not a free gift. It is a spiritual acting tool in the terrestrial plane. But if this gift is not understood, it becomes a curse. If the energy is not channeled, it turns against the bearer himself. And it is at this point that many Scorpions enter repetitive cycles of self-sabotage, contained anger, emotional explosions, isolation, distrust, and fear of opening. They do not feel belonging to the world they see. They do not understand why their pains are so intense. Why need to go through such large losses? Why are rebirth in sequence, as if the universe never left them alone? But it is because, in fact, it does not let it. Because Scorpio did not come into the world to live a light life. He came to fulfill a deep spiritual role. This dark soul is made of layers, and each layer is only revealed when another dies. Scorpio, more than any other sign, needs to kill versions of himself to follow. This is not only symbolic, it is literal in the way it relates, in the way it changes its way, vision, identity. He deconstructs himself to be born closer to his truth. But this reconstruction requires courage, because it forces Scorpio to look inside without filter, no excuse, without protection. And within himself, he finds forgotten parts, old wounds, trauma that carry spiritual roots that are not always of this life. Cayce said that Scorpio is the sign of rescuers, those who come to the world to clean what others avoided. And this mission is hard, but it is also sacred. There is a reason why Scorpions awakened are so magnetic. It is as if their soul spoke an old language, a lost code that others recognize. Without understanding, they attract confessions, arouse triggers, make people review their own darkness. This is not a casual power. It is the manifestation of the archetype of the hidden curator. Scorpio has the ability to touch someone's exact point and, instead of fleeing it, remains there. And often, it is precisely this courage to remain in the dark that illuminates the way to others. But this same light only comes on because he himself has already been crossed by darkness. The Scorpio soul does not fear what is dense. On the contrary, she is interested in what no one wants to look at. Death, taboos, trauma, mysteries, silence. Everything the other signs avoid, Scorpio faces head on, because there, in these forgotten territories, this is where he finds himself, and it is also where the power you are looking for so much. Only this power is not revealed in pain. This is why Cayce stated that his pain is the password of his power. Without crossing the pain, Scorpio does not access anything, does not understand your mission. You don't understand why you feel what you feel. It is only when it accepts the wound that discovers that it is the portal. But not every Scorpio is ready for this dive. Many resist. Many prefer to harden, control, manipulate, hide. And that's where the energy turns against them. Sensitivity becomes weight. Intuition becomes paranoia. Depth becomes prison. It must be remembered that the Scorpion energy, when misused, not only affects the soul itself, but contaminates the field around it. It becomes dense, heavy, suffocating. She closes ways, breaks ties, generates chaos. Because Scorpion, when you forget it is a portal, becomes wall. When she denies her shadow, she projects her in the other. And what should be healing becomes wounded. What should be light becomes destruction. Therefore, the call to the Scorpions, and for all who feel this energy itself, is the call of consciousness, of spiritual responsibility, understanding that this soul is not here by chance, that there is a purpose behind each fall, that each painful end had a reason, and that each phase of deep silence was an invisible preparation. Scorpion does not survive life. He crosses, and when crossing, drags with it an entire energy system. He purifies by chaos. He restores collapse. He reveals by the impact. And all this happens even if he doesn't say a word. This is the dimension of the hidden power that Cayce saw. This is the weight of the prophetic. Warning, and if you are listening to it now and feeling that this speech crosses you, don't ignore that sign. If something inside you is moving, if something is connecting to a level that you can't explain, it's because this message is yours. And as always, if this part of the video has moved something inside you, here is your testimony. Comment below. My pain is the password of my power. If you felt that you are going through a silent rebirth, write your sign, share your phase. Show that you are here, awake, whole, and ready to go further. The next revelation will go down even deeper. And maybe you're ready. Don't waste more time living with this burden. Guarantee now your digital book, The 7 Hidden Spiritual Wounds of Your Zodiac Sign and How to Heal Them Before 2026, and find out how to apply these powerful teachings in your daily life. Attention, the stock is limited and is running out quickly. Click now and start your journey towards the trust you deserve. When a Scorpion loses control, the impact is rarely limited to itself. Scorpion energy is not contained, not neutral, not passive. It reverberates. It crosses subtle dimensions, and this reverberation reaches not only those who carry it, but the whole field around it, and especially the other signs that live with this frequency, even unconsciously. The Scorpio soul, when unbalanced, becomes an inverted mirror, a mirror that not only reflects, but reveals. She shows what no one wants to see. She exposes what was swept under the energy carpet. And so, when that force goes down to the break, the whole zodiac feels. Relationships come into collapse. Ties break, masks fall, lies come to light as if they were dragged by an invisible force. And often, Scorpio does not even have to say a word. Its presence in crisis already changes the field. This is because Scorpio represents the collective shadow. This often misunderstanding expression defines the role that this sign carries at a deep spiritual level. It is the receptacle of denied emotions, the bearer of the avoided truths, the catalyst of the transformations no one wants to face. When he crumbles, he doesn't do it alone. He pulls with him everything that is badly resolved around him. People who live near Scorpions in imbalance begin to feel discomfort, irritation, insomnia, emotional crises with no apparent cause. This is because Scorpio energy, when loaded with unused pain, acts like a dark mirror that forces everyone at return to look at what they have avoided. Light signs such as Pound, Twins, or Sagittarius can feel especially impacted by this force. Not because Scorpion is evil, that would be simplistic, but because he moves the unconscious of others. He pokes the forbidden areas, the hidden parts of the soul of other signs. It destabilizes the superficial balance that many try to maintain at any cost. This makes many move away without knowing why. They feel something there discomfort them, but they don't know how to name it. They feel they are facing an energy that forces them to confront their own truths, and that for many is unbearable. Lion, for example, sign of brightness and self-affirmation, may feel threatened when the Ergia Scorpio enters the scene with his silence loaded with presence. Taurus, a sign of stability and comfort, conflicts with the emotional intensity of Scorpion that threatens its structures. Aquarium, so mental and rational, feels disconcerted with the irrational, instinctive, almost ancestral depth that Scorpio carries. And this is not incompatibility, this is frequency adjustment. It is as if Scorpio had the spiritual function of uninstalling the old programs that other signs try to keep running, even though obsolete. This is the beauty and danger of Scorpio energy. It cleans but first contaminates. It heals but before collapses. It transforms but requires everything to be broken before it is rebuilt. And that, for the other signs, may seem like an attack, but in fact, it is a process of purification. Scorpio does not attack. He active. He triggers triggers. It brings out pains that others hide even from themselves. And since many do not know how to deal with this involuntary exposure, they prefer to label Scorpion as the villain, as the destroyer, as the manipulator. But what is behind it is something else. Fear. Fear of what this energy reveals. Fear of having to face what was denied too long. Cayce called it effect of mirror of the Scorpion soul. He said that Scorpio does not only reveal himself, but serves as a reflection of the collective unconscious. And this is not optional. It is automatic. Just be close. Therefore, Scorpions need to be aware of the field they carry. Your energy, when high, can be a balm. It can be a deep call of healing for those around them. But when unconscious, when suffocated, when full of resentment, it becomes a spiritual bomb that detonates patterns hidden in all around. It is as if your soul said, either you look at it now or the universe will force you to look. And at this point, we can understand why many people feel discomfort in the face of Scorpion, even though they have lived something negative with someone in this sign. It is an energy reaction. It is the Scorpio field activating what was numb. And at the same time, that's why other people feel deeply attracted. They are those who, even without understanding, feel that something moves inside them when they are in this force. They are those that are ready, even if they do not know, to cross their own shadow. So when a Scorpio loses control, it's not just an individual crisis. It is a collective shake. He moves invisible pieces, strength decisions that were standing, makes the truth emerge as a volcano lava. And that's why Cayce's prophetic warning was so serious. Because when this energy is not understood, it scares. But when it is understood and accepted, it becomes an instrument of awakening for the entire zodiacal system. If you have already felt this Scorpion force messing with you, whether by coexistence, spiritual experiences, or direct identification, comment below, I felt the mirror open. If you are Scorpio and have already realized that in times of crisis, everything around you also collapses, share your report. Write your sign. Write, I carry the collective shadow. If you understand the weight and mission that this energy brings, these comments help not only the channel, but build this spiritual portal that we are activating together. And the next dive is even deeper. Scorpio still has a lot to reveal. Don't waste more time living with this burden. Guarantee now your digital book, The 7 Hidden Spiritual Wounds of Your Zodiac Sign and How to Heal Them Before 2026, and find out how to apply these powerful teachings in your daily life. Attention! The stock is limited and is running out quickly. Click now and start your journey towards the trust you deserve. If there is something that Scorpion energy does not allow, is neutrality. This sign, when aligned with its spiritual essence, becomes a true channel of transmutation, a deep healing agent, someone capable of crossing the denser layers of the human soul and still returning with answers that no one else could access. But there is a critical point that needs to be understood with extreme attention. When a Scorpion moves away from its essence, it not only gets lost from itself, it becomes a portal of destruction. And this destruction is not just external. It starts inside, silent, toxic, corrosive. The Scorpio, disconnected from his spiritual mission, does not live. He consumes. He sabots himself, implodes, creates emotional storms that move him away from everything that really matters. And more dangerous than that, drags with him who is around, even unintentionally. This is one of the most serious spiritual warnings left by Edgar Cayce. He stated that, unlike other signs, Scorpion carries such a thin and so connected sensitivity to invisible plans that when this energy is denied, distorted or repressed, it to turn against the soul itself. Cayce said, "The angel is silent, and the gift becomes a curse." This means that the force that has been given to Scorpio to heal, to restore, to guide, to be used, even if unconsciously, to hurt, manipulate, destroy, and push away. And not because he wants it, but because the removal of his true essence generates a kind of emptiness that needs to be filled anyway. And in this hole, the compulsions, destructive behaviors, the desire for control, the power games, the poisoned silences, and the actions that are followed by guilt. This spiritual alert is not to create fear, but to arouse consciousness. Scorpio, more than any other sign, needs emotional integrity. He needs to be in communion with what is invisible but present. You need to feel that there is a greater order guiding your steps, because when you disconnect from it, everything loses meaning. The world becomes hostile, relationships become threats, spirituality becomes absence, and it is in this state that he begins to operate not as a guardian, but as a weapon, not as a healing channel, but as an instrument of pain. Scorpion was not born to live small. It does not support emotional mediocrity. He does not tolerate the superficiality. But when you get lost, you accept crumbs. And in accepting, it contaminates itself. And when contaminated, contaminates. Therefore, what Scorpio needs to avoid at all costs is the abandonment of itself. And this happens in very subtle ways. It starts when he silences his intuition because he thinks no one will understand. When you feel something wrong, but pretends to be all right to not disturb. When she presents a lie but chooses to shut up for fear of losing. When he feels the spiritual call, but ignores him because he is tired of being different. When he begins to discredit his own power because he got used to pain. These are the first signs that he is moving away from what he is. And when it settles, the angel walks away. Not because it punishes, but because it respects free will. The mission continues to exist, but the soul no longer hears. And then, what was gift becomes weight. What was healing becomes poison. What was blessing becomes prison. Cayce was clear in saying that Scorpio's biggest challenge is to remain righteous in the face of pain, because he knows the pain comes. He was born with her, already carries scars that many do not even imagine. But it is precisely to know what it is to fall and get up that he was chosen to help others do the same. But if he refuses to continue, if he decides to stop, let the anger guide his actions, he loses access to the source. It loses its connection with its true spiritual origin. And that, for a Scorpio, is like walking without skin. Everything hurts. Everything threatens. Everything becomes reason to close more and more, until it becomes a dead fish maze. This is the most dangerous shadow of Scorpio, the denial of the gift itself, when he believes he is alone, that he has no mission, that his intensity is a mistake, that his intuition is paranoia. And this is where the imbalance sets in, and an unbalanced Scorpion soul has the power to shake not only its life, but lives around it. Because your presence has spiritual weight. It changes frequencies, she triggers triggers. And when this presence is intoxicated, everything around gets sick together. The Scorpio who forgets his light becomes an agent of the shadow he has swore to transmute. And so it needs to be always vigilant. You need to be awake. You need to remember who it is, even when the world insists on trying to make it forget. This vigilance is not paranoia. It is spiritual consciousness. It is knowing that if you carry a sword, you need to learn to handle it wisely. That was born with the gift of depth cannot live on the surface. That feels too much cannot allow themselves to anesthetize. If you have the power to heal, you cannot conform to just survive. Scorpio needs to remember every day that his pain is the call, that its intensity is the compass, that your shadow is not defective, it is a tool, but only used with truth. If you felt that this part of the video spoke directly to you, if you have lived moments when you felt that the angel silent, that your energy was turning against yourself, I want you to write here in the comments now. I choose to transmute my shadow. Write with intention. Write as a commitment. And if you feel that you have been through this disconnection and managed to go back, share. Write your sign. Leave a brief account. This may be the spark that another soul needs to awaken. Scorpio energy is silent, but when you find another one that recognizes the call, it lights up, and we are just starting to go down. What comes after that? You will feel at the bottom of your soul. Don't waste more time living with this burden. Guarantee now your digital book, The 7 Hidden Spiritual Wounds of Your Zodiac Sign and How to Heal Them Before 2026, and find out how to apply these powerful teachings in your daily life. Attention, the stock is limited and is running out quickly. Click now and start your journey towards the trust you deserve. Scorpio, you are not here by chance. Nothing in your way was random. No pain was in vain. No loss was just suffering. No dark night of the soul was purposeless. Everything, absolutely everything, was a quiet call for you to remember what it is. While the world runs after easy answers, you carry questions that no one dare to ask. While others run away from the shadow, you were designed to dwell it with courage, because the shadow is your home, and also the place where the truth rests until someone has enough strength to bring it to the light. And that someone is you. It has always been you. You are the guardian of unnamed truths. It's the one who feels when something is wrong, even if everyone around is smiling. It is the one who perceives the energy movement behind the words, who sees the intentions that the eyes do not reveal, who captures the vibration even before the sound. Scorpion, you are the one who sees beyond. That goes beyond. That is not content with the surface. And for that very reason, the Zodiac fears you, not out of evil, but because your presence moves what is hidden. Their simple existence questions what many prefer to keep asleep. You are the living memory that nothing remains hidden forever. But at the same time, the Zodiac fears you. It needs you, because it is you who cross the portals that no one else has the courage to cross. It is you who rebuild when everyone thinks it is over. You are the one who comes back stronger after the abyss. You are the one who plays the wounds and does not look away. It is you who love with rare depth, even when everything taught you how to close. It is you who carries the mission of restoring what was corrupted, of reborn where there were only ruins, of lighting a new conscience where there was only fear. And now more than ever, the world needs this energy awakens, because we are living a time of collective revelations. Masks are falling, truths are coming to light, and every Scorpion aware of its role is being called to take its place. No more like rejected, no longer like the enigmatic on the bank, but as the silent guide, the curator who plays without invading, the mirror he shows without judging, the channel that connects the invisible with the visible. And this channel is you. If this message has come to you, it is no coincidence. It's not any video. It is a spiritual reminder, a confirmation that your soul asked to receive. You might feel it all for a long time, but you needed words to activate what you already knew. Perhaps you are in the process of returning to you, to recover your essence after years trying to be what others expected. Maybe it's still silent, but a different silence, the one who precedes the return, the one that precedes the true transformation. If this is the case, then know, you are ready. But the journey does not end here. Scorpio does not walk alone. It opens portals to others. He guides with his eyes, with feeling, simply staying up when everyone collapses. And so it is essential that you continue. That does not stop at this point. May it be expanding your consciousness, activating your memories, welcoming your own pain as a sacred healing tool, because everything that one day has hurt, it can today become the medicine for someone who still doesn't know how to heal. And that someone may be listening now. It may be in the comments. It can be touched by what you will write. So if this message spoke to you, if you got something that was asleep, if you activated a memory, an emotion, a vibration that you can't explain, then comments here now, with presence, with intention. I accept my essence. These words are more than a symbolic gesture. They are a spiritual seal, a contract with your own soul, a vibrational statement that echoes beyond the screen. And if you want to further strengthen this call, share this message with someone you need to hear, someone who is in the process of awakening, someone who is on the verge of a collapse, someone who needs to remember who is not alone. Enjoy this video so that it reaches other Scorpion souls who have not yet awakened. Activate the bell. Subscribe to this channel, which is not just a channel, but a spiritual portal. Each video here was created with a mission. Each word carries an intentional vibration. Each message has an energy address. And the next revelation is about to be delivered. In the next video, let's talk about Sagittarius, the archer who points his arrow up, but often forgets that the true expansion begins inside. Let's reveal what is the spiritual mission of those who came to the world with the fire of truth burning in the chest, but still need to remember where your true alv is thee. If you got here until the end of this deep dive into the Scorpion soul, so you not just watched a video, you crossed a portal, and it already says a lot about who you are. Therefore, now I invite you to be part of this spiritual journey more actively. Subscribe to the channel right now, activates the bell, because here each video is a revelation, it is a call, and I promise, what comes next will speak even stronger with its essence. And if you felt that this message was made for you, comment below. I am the soul that is reborn from the shadows. Writes with intention as a seal of everything that has been activated within you today. Leave the like in this video if he really touched you. It helps this message reach other souls that also need to wake up. And before you leave, look to the left side of the screen. The next video is already waiting for you. It is the continuation of this journey. Click there now and follow me in this expansion. You are not alone. You have never been. And now you know that.